Alright, in this tutorial we are going to look at creating a snowflake simulator. It will be very similar to the tutorial that we did on fractal trees. So if you haven't viewed that one, then, well, this will just be a bit of a review in a sense. Alright, so we're going to start by deleting this cat. And we're going to change the stage background color so that my snowflakes, which will be white, will show up. So I'm going to click on the paint at the bottom of the stage there and use the paint bucket tool. And I'm just going to use a black fill and click on anywhere on the stage to fill that in. Alright, now we're going to add a new sprite. So I'm not going to choose from the library. I'm just going to choose the paint new sprite, and from there I will start my code. We could call this, change the name of it if you like to Snowflake, but that's about all. We're not going to draw it in here. Alright, so go to your scripts, and we're going to start by creating some data variables. So click on the data, and the first variable that we're going to make is going to be angle. And we'll make another one called length, another one called levels, another one called symmetry, and the final one will be symmetry angle. Okay, we can uncheck all of those so we don't have them on our stage. Alright, next we'll start in the Events tab with the one clicked. And then what I want to do is I want to set my symmetry to 6. The reason I'm setting my symmetry to 6 is because snowflakes are 6-sided or hexagonal. So in real life, that is, right? So we want to have sort of something similar when we start our drawing. It's going to have a 6-fold symmetry to look like a real snowflake in a sense. Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to choose the pen, and we're going to clear, and then we'll set our pen color to white so that it is like snow. So just click on the box, and anywhere you can see the color white. And now I'm going to set my pen size to 1, so the very bottom one, drag that up, and then we'll do pen up. Now I need my motion to go to I'm just going to go to an X and a Y position of 0, which means it'll be directly at center stage. And then with my pen down, I'm going to choose in data, I'm going to set the symmetry angle. 2. Now inside this box here, I want to choose an operator. So I'm going to choose the value of a division. I'm going to take 360 for the degrees in the circle and divide it by my symmetry, much like we did actually when we did the flower tutorial as well, when we wanted equal placement with those petals. So we're going to type in 360 and divide that by your symmetry data variable. Now in controls, I'm going to choose a repeating loop. And inside here, I'm going to choose another operator. This time I want the one with a subtraction. So I'm going to choose to put in symmetry in the first one, take away 1. Alright, so now I want, in a control at the bottom, I want to create a clone of myself. And I want to then rotate a certain amount. So I'm going to choose this one here with the rotating or turn. And inside the circle, I'm going to choose my symmetry angle data variable. Now at the bottom of all this, I need to set my length to 100. So use the drop down to change that. Set length to 100. And then I'm going to, in events, I'm going to broadcast a message and wait. So use the drop down menu again, create a new message, and we're going to call it draw level. Oops. Now, because I'm broadcasting a message, I then need to receive this message. So drag over the when I receive message, put it off to the side here or wherever. So when I receive that draw level message, I'm then going to move a certain length. So in my data, I'm going to drag over length. So if we run the project now, we should see okay, so the reason I have a line here is because I did not change this drop down. So I don't want to set the symmetry angle, I want to set the symmetry to 6. So let's try that again. There we go. Now we see that we've got symmetry of 6 with our snowflake. So if I was to change this symmetry value here and run the project again, you see that that changes. So you can play around with odd numbers, even numbers, doesn't matter. It'll give you equal symmetry with what you get there. Now to fill in the rest of the snowflake, each clone will draw a succession of branching lines like those fractal trees. So we need to make a couple of changes to the script. The first one we need to do is drag in this set underneath that symmetry and change it to, say, levels. And we're going to change the levels to 4. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to take out this broadcast here. So just drag that off to the side so it disappears. And we're going to add in a repeating loop. So I'm going to put in the first one, I'm going to drag this levels into there. And now I want to set my angle to 15. So drag that over. Don't forget to use the drop down to change that. So set angle to 15. And now I'm going to use the broadcast. Draw level and wait. All right, so now what this repeating loop is going to do is essentially create the branching pattern on each arm. We can change, actually we're going to change the set level down to 20. We can change that later on, but for now we're going to change that to 20. Alright, now we're going to add 3 other blocks to this when I receive draw level. The first one is going to be under motion and we need to move. So, oh, sorry, not the move. I need to rotate, so turn. And inside here we want to turn a certain angle, so we're going to drag that one in there. And then we want to create a clone, so down at the bottom in controls, create a clone of myself, and then turn the other way. So go back to motion this time, turn in the opposite direction. When we turn the opposite direction this time, we want an operator in there. We're going to choose this one here with the equal sign. In the first box, we're going to have 2, and I want it to equal my angle. Okay, so let's run that project again and see what happens. There we go. So again, it looks very similar to those fractal trees that we did. Now, if we want to make a different style snowflake, what we could do is change the levels to see what happens. So in the set block at the top where we had this set to 4, if I change it to 1, okay, you can see that it has changed what's happened. If I go to, there's only one branch, which is hard to see. If I go to 2, you can now see that I've got 2 branching out. So as I change my levels there, it changes the appearance of your snowflake. And back to 4, and so you can play around with that one. There's 5 to see what you like the best. Now if we want to make each snowflake just a little bit different, we could add some pick randoms in there as well. So if I go to my operator, I can use this pick random here. So we can choose that down to our set length rather than 20. Let's choose that pick random, and we're going to go from a value of 30 to a value of 150. And we'll do the same thing with the set angle. We'll use another random, and we'll go from an angle of 140 to 180. All right, so let's run that project again, see what happens. Okay, some crazy. So now each time it's slightly different. And again, you could be playing with the number of levels that you have as well. So you get some different snowflakes. You can experiment. There's lots of different ways to play within this project and get different patterns. You can play with the symmetry, the levels, the angles, the lengths. You can even add some colors if you want to your creation. If you want to make some odd snowflakes, one quick change you could do is you could drag this set length one inside your repeating loop, and now you get some very different shapes. If we want to be able to click on our screen and have random snowflakes appear everywhere we click, similar to what we did with the flowers where I clicked on the screen and we got different shaped flowers, we can do that with the snowflakes as well. We just need to add a couple more blocks to our code. So what we would want to do is, first of all, we can add a forever loop. I want it to also hold my pen, so I want it where the pen goes up. Now I want to add 2 more blocks in here, and I need to use the wait until. So at just the beginning of this forever, we're going to use 2 of these wait untils. So I want it to detect a full mouse click when I click on here. So what we're going to do is use an operator here. Notice the shape of this. It's we can't use the circular ones now. We have to use these guys here. So I'm going to choose the one that says not. And then I'm going to go into sensing, and I'm going to put mouse down. And then I'm going to use the mouse down again in the one below it. I also need to replace the old go to block with a new one. So rather than go to the center of the stage, I need to replace this one. So I'm going to go to motions, and I want it to follow my mouse pointer. So I'm going to put that one in, and I want to take this one off. Remember, when you're trying to separate, you always got to drag from below. So now it won't go to center, it'll go to where I've clicked. Now another thing I want to do is change the numbers to make this snowflakes a little bit smaller. So at the set length, I'm going to change these randoms. I'm going to change that to 10 and these to 50. Otherwise, as you can see, that's already happened here. I've almost filled the screen off with one click. So that'll make the length of my snowflakes a little bit smaller. If I want to clear my screen, again, like we did in the flowers tutorial, then I will need an event to say that when my space bar is pressed, I'm going to clear the stage. Now we don't want to run out of clones either, so I'm going to use a broadcast that I'm going to put at the end of everything. So broadcast and wait, just at the very bottom. I'm going to create a new message, and I'm going to say kill all clones. And now when I receive that message to kill all clones, I will delete this clone. So I never run out. Alright, so I'm going to try clearing the stage with the space bar. That shows me that's worked. I'm going to click on my stage, and it should be making a snowflake, and it's not. So let me just check. Okay, so it looks like I have this, I got one that needs to go out here. So I'm gonna separate these guys for a second and put that up there and get these guys back in there. See if that fixes my problem. There we go. Okay, so now I've got different snowflakes happening every time wherever I click my mouse. So create yourself some interesting flakes. Hope you've enjoyed and learned something new. Thanks for watching.